Hi, you normal and hello freshman students from the BSCMP. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to discuss the historical antecedents in which social considerations change over the course of science, technology, and society. So sit back, listen, and enjoy. These are the learning outcomes for today's discussion. At the end of the lesson, the student should be able to discuss the interaction between science, technology, and society throughout history, and identify the paradigm shift in history. Science, technology, and society encompasses the realization that the present-day technologies are precast by historical forces and in turn impact values, aspirations, events, and institutions, thus influencing the course of history. Thousands of years ago, the ancient people instigated the emergence of technologies to address their survival needs for food production, for shelter, for transportation, for communication, for navigation, for security and protection, and a lot more. The early work underwent gradual improvements from the different time periods. Ancient technologies were the result of incredible advances in trade and revolution as a new, powerful civilization emerged and came to dominate the ancient world. These advances inspired societies to adopt new ways of living, as well as new ways of understanding their world. The civilizations of ancient Mesopotamia fetched many significant developments such as the following. First is we have Sumerian writing. To address the ancient people's problem on communication and record keeping, the Mesopotamians made one of the most significant advances to the innovations of the cuneiform by the Sumerians. It was the first writing system that utilized word pictures and triangular symbols. With this came first recorded law called Hammurabi's Code that deals with the criminal and civil matters, along with the epic tale of Gilgamesh as the first major piece of the literature. And we also have irrigation system. Since early civilization dependence on farming as one of the source of food production, the people created the technology on irrigating their farmlands at the same time controlling the food or the flood problems of the rivers. The ancient Egyptians developed irrigation system using hydraulic engineering principle. Such systems were designed to replace rainfall during the period of droughts. And then we also have Egyptian hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics were drawings that portrays the story and also use symbols seen in the wall of pyramids. Hieroglyphics are some of the most oldest relics in the world today, and Egyptians used this to preserve accurate records and maintain control of their realms. And of course, we also have bound books. The Roman fronted the tradition of stacking papyrus or paper to form the codex, a stack of bound pages that is recognized as the earliest incarnation of the book. The first codices were made of bound wax tablets, but these were later replaced by the skin or the animal skin parchment that are more clearly resembled pages. And then we also have gravel. The gravel was a type of sailing ship used by Spanish and Portuguese explorers and traders during the voyages of discovery. From the Columbia's first voyage in 1992, the gravel was popular due to its speed. Caravels were used to fish and for war. And we also have water mills. In order for the ancient people to produce edible and staple food like wheat and rice, cereals, pulses, and flour, water mill was created. To mill meant to grind, and to customarily meant to grind grains. Ever since its origination, watermill has been a number of consequent variations, which enable people to use its milling feature into different raw materials. These mills are still used in many parts of the rural world to serve similar purposes. And then we also have the wheel. The oldest wheel was found in Mesopotamia. However, archaeologists have not identified its inventor. Primarily, the Sumerians used its pottery making in 3500 BC, but not for transportation. And then eventually, around 3200 BC, it was used for their chariots. And then we also have the ink. The Egyptians were very talented at creating not only black ink, but many multicolored types of dye. Thousands of years later, the process and depth of color utilized in the Egyptian invention of ink and dye resulting in brilliant hued color that's still seen today. And then we also have the papyrus. The first paper was from papyrus because it was made from the papyrus plant. The ancient Egyptians were the ones that developed the papyrus as the first form of durable sheet of paper to write on. And of course, we also have makeup. Wearing cosmetics served as a practical purpose to protect ancient Egyptian people's skin from the sun. It was also believed to serve as a protection from evil because beauty was a sign of holiness. Egyptians wore dark kohl, a fine black powder around their eyes that was made from a soot and other minerals, and it's the concept from which modern eyeliner is originated. Now let's move on to the different fields in the early civilization. Let's first have medicine. The Babylonians made a number of advances in the field of medicine. Using logic and recorded medical history, they were able to diagnose and treat illness with various creams and pills. Chinese had one of the oldest venerable contributions in the tradition of medicine, including acupuncture and herbal medicine, derived from the Taoist philosophy. Second is astronomy. The Mesopotamian astronomers were able to follow the movement of the stars, planet, and the moon, using their knowledge in advanced math. One major achievement was the ability to predict the movement of several planets. This advancement was attributed to apply in logic, mathematics, and scientific processes. The Mesopotamians also created the first calendar consisting of 12 lunar months. It was also the forerunner for both Jewish and Greek calendars. Also mathematics. The basic numerical system, or also known as sexagesimal, was the Babylonian system of mathematics. A determination of the square root of 2 correctly to 7 places were among the Babylonians' mathematical accomplishments. For example, 60 seconds is equal to 1 minute, and 60 minutes is equivalent to 1 hour. And during the early civilization, there is already a calendar system. The ancient Babylonians used a calendar with alternating 29 and 30 days a month. This system required adding an extra month 3 times every 8 years. As a further adjustment, the king would periodically order the insertion of the additional extra month into the calendar. Lastly, we have also cartography. The discovery of cartography, or the study and practice of making maps, has played an important role in traveling and navigating since the ancient times. Even though the earliest known evidences of cartography points toward the ancient Babylon, the Greeks took what they had at their disposal and brought cartography into a new light and possibilities. It was Anaximander, one of the pioneer cartographers, who had created the map of the world. This map made important contribution to the science of astronomy and geography. Now let us proceed to science and technology during the Middle Ages. The medieval period, or also known as the Dark Ages or Middle Ages, started in Europe in the 5th century, with the fall of the Western Roman Empire. This period was tainted by migration of people invasions, navigations, and the urbanization. It prevailed until the 50th century, when it emerged into the Age of Exploration, also known as the Age of Discovery, during which Europeans traveled by sea in their quest of new trading routes, riches, and new knowledge. The influence of the Middle Ages, specifically the Age of Exploration, permanently altered the worlds and transformed geography into today's modern science. In response to such circumstances, the medieval civilization saw the need for some major advancement in science and technology, some of which are still used today. Some of these are presented as follows. The first one is the printing press. Johannes Gutenberg was the first to make words from an alloy of lead, antimony, and tin. Paper-making technique and printing both first appeared in China, but the automatic printing was invented in Europe. The second one is heavy plow. Chinese first used small plow made of wood except for its blade. The earliest plows were brittle and unable to break heavier soil. Thus, the heavy plow was built. It reduced the work of a runner who was to apply extra weight to the plow. There are many advantages of using a heavy plow, especially for mass production and more efficient farming practices. The third one is the compass. The Chinese designed the first compass in the 2nd century. At that time, it was used for selection of places for house. They used the lodestone, which was a natural magnetized ore, and suspended it freely. It also pointed in the same direction, that is, towards the magnetic poles. But it was during the 11th century when people started using the compass for navigation. And I will also have mechanical clocks. The knowledge of time changed the way people planned their days and work patterns, especially in urban areas. Timekeeping devices already emerged in the ancient world. However, it was during the Middle Ages that the mechanical clocks were to keep the track of time accurately. It was believed that the first mechanical clock was used in the monasteries to ring bell to call all monks into prayer. The first mechanical clock were the large and weight-driven machines. They didn't have any dials or band. Rather, they used to strike the hours and produce sound. They were used to be fitted into towers. Today, these clocks are termed as turret clock. And then we also have the spinning wheel. The spinning wheel was invented in India and was brought to Europe in the 30th century. It replaced the more traditional method of hand spinning. Fibers into thread or yarn helped elevate the economic and social standing of medieval women. And we also have weapons. Some other invented weapons were the longbow, crossbows, flail, chainmail, and armors. Longbow was significant for technology used by English against the French during the 30th century. Likewise, the Middle Ages invention of crossbow applied engineering to a short bow. The flail and chainmail were used as an armor fighting weapons, providing protection against being cut by opponent's blade. A knight's armor was also invented and developed to protect them from the lethal weapon. Gunpowder. Gunpowder was technology of China sometimes between the 9th and 11th century. It did not take long for humans to use it as a weapon. The Mongols who conquered China spread the knowledge about it through Eurasia. Soon the gunpowder revolutionized conflict and made various military technology obsolete. We also have eyeglasses, also called as spectacles. Eyeglasses were invented to correct or to improve vision problems. They provide to help individuals with weak sight perform better. The first spectacles were made somewhere between the 1268 and 1289. But the identity of the inventor was not known. In 1268, Roger Bacon described the lenses to make letter bigger in the Opus Majus, one of his experiments in science, in the 1268. Then in the 1289, Sandra de Popozo wrote, I am the deliberated by age that without the glasses known as spectacles, I will no longer be able to read or write. And then we also have the field of medicine. Most medicine's ideas in the medieval ages were contributed by the Greek physician Galen in 129 to 216 CE and Hippocrates in 460 to 370 BCE. It was through their ideas that the human body relating to the four elements, also known as the earth, the air, the fire, and the water, and the four bodily humors, the blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile, was theorized. It was thought that the good health could be maintained by harmonizing those humors and through diet, exercise, and sleep. Medical knowledge, derived from the antique theory, was largely limited to the monasteries and highly educated. By the 4th or 40th century, universities as medical schools were established in Western Europe. This enabled students to study under a master physician. But for ordinary people, particularly those outside towns, it was tough to access professional practitioners. Those in need of medical assistance turned to local people who had medical knowledge that was derived from the folk traditions and practical experiences. Lastly, we have astrolabes. Astrolabe is a compact instrument used to observe and calculate the position of celestial body before the invention of the sextant, an instrument with graduated arc and sighting mechanism. Astrolabes were efficient, elaborate inclinometer, and in effect can be considered as early computer. They would become vital for astronomers and navigators to work out the inclined position to the given celestial body, day or night. And now we are down to the last part of our discussion, science and technology in the modern era. Modern science and technology come about as a result of industrial revolution, which lasted for about 100 years, that is from the 80th to 90th century. It started in Britain. It introduced many new inventions that marked the transformation of the world into what it is in the modern time. It was a time of awakening to change. What were predominated agrarian and rural society in Europe and United States became industrial and urban. There was widespread rise of factories with new machineries for mass production of goods, increase of new cities with new lifestyle, establishment of more higher education institutions with new learning in all fields of study, particularly science, and significant technologies innovations increase in a wide range of areas. These changes have deeply interwoven with the development of society. They have allowed people around the globe to intermingle with one another rapidly in unparalleled ways. Today, there are more powerful, more effective, and more efficient data analysis techniques, more sophisticated tools and equipment for doing experiments and making observations. Today, there are much greater depth and breadth of scientific knowledge. Indeed, science and technology have benefited society so much, while it is challenging to envision what will come next. One thing is for sure, science, technology, and innovation continues to thrill, to captivate, and to fascinate far beyond what is known today. Here are major scientific and technological products that have contributed to the rise of the modern. The first one is electricity. The experiments and inventions conducted by various scientists like William Gilbert and Benjamin Franklin were vital in the discovery of electricity, one of the most required daily needs of modern-day world. The technology made swift progress that helped in the transmissions of electricity to run different industries, light homes, and many others. At present, it tops the list as one of the best modern day discovery and innovations. Second one is airplane. Orville and Wilbur Wright were the inventor of the first airplane. On December 17, 1903, the Wright brothers launched the era of human flight when they successfully tested a flying vehicle that took off by its own power, flew naturally at even speed and landed without damage. The third one is computer. According to the Goodwill Community Foundation, a modern computer is an electronic device that has the ability to store, retrieve, and process data. It can process tasks such as word processing, web browsing, and database management. A modern computer is made of hardware and software components. Hardware refers to the part of the computer that has a physical component such as keyboard or mouse, whereas software or any set of instructions that tells the hardware how to accomplish each task. Modern computers come in the form of desktop computers and laptop computers, which are usually used for work at home, at school, or even in the library. Other types of modern computers include tablet computers, mobile phones, game console, and TV. One characteristic that all computers have is the ability to share information and file on a network or server. The fourth one is the mobile phones. The mobile phones aided people to take calls on the move, rather than to be tied on a landline. Mobile phones also enable text message to be sent. And then we also have smartphones. The smartphones combine many technologies in one. The modern smartphone has enabled text, call, internet, access camera, and variety of apps. And of course, we also have the Internet or World Wide Web. The Internet is a system of architecture that has revolutionized communication and method of commerce by allowing various computer networks around the world to interconnect. Human communication can be managed via electronic mail or email, chat rooms, news groups, and audio-video transmission, despite of the geographical distances. Moreover, the Internet supports access to digital information by many applications. Many are including the World Wide Web. And we also have robots and artificial intelligence. Robotics is a branch of technology which deals with robots. It has been one of the most studied in the field of engineering. Robots are programmable machines that can carry out a series of actions autonomously or semi-autonomously. They have the ability or capability to perform possible work like human but without anxiety and tiredness. On the other hand, the use of artificial intelligence has already started showing its pathway in the modern-day robots. Basically, artificial intelligence directly involves borrowing characteristics from human intelligence and applying them as algorithms in a computer-friendly way. Artificial intelligence algorithm can tackle learning, perception, problem-solving, language understanding, and/or logical reasoning. Engineers created artificial intelligence for many purposes such as several household purposes, carpentry, firefighting, military applications, and several disaster operations during flood, landslide, bomb diffusion, and many more. The UAVs and drones robots are used for perform house jobs as well as in securing borders by several countries like Japan and United States. Artificial intelligence also uses robotics to surpass the intelligence of human and make it faster, reliable, and accurate than computers. Lastly, we have artificially intelligent robots. Are the bridge between robotics and artificial intelligence. These robots are controlled by artificial intelligent program. Many robots are not artificially intelligent. Up until quite recently, all industrial robots could also be programmed to carry out a repetitive series of movements. Repetitive movements do not require artificial intelligence. Non-intelligent robots are quite limited in their functionality. Artificial intelligence algorithms are often necessary to allow the robot to perform more complex tasks. And these are the references that I may use for this topic. And these are the references that I may use for the early civilization. And you also have references from the Middle Age. And lastly, we also have references in the modern era. Alright, so that's the end of our presentation. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you have learned something to this topic. Now, I have a bonus point for you. If you can answer this on the comment section, you will gain 10 points credit for your class attending. Alright, so here's the question. In your own opinion, did the interaction between science, technology, and society throughout the history benefited humankind? Explain your answer. Again, in your own opinion, did the interaction between science, technology, and society throughout the history benefited humankind? Explain your answer in not more than 3 sentences. So see you on the comment box. Good luck! Thank you for learning with me today. But please, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe. See you on my next discussion. Goodbye!